What's up, you guys? It's Julian. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do breakcore like Blacksmith, Symphony, SEWERSLVT style. You can grab this template at the top of the description on my website so you can follow along and make your own track. Thanks for the support, guys. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let's dive in. Alright, we're at 184 BPM, pretty fast. It gives it that more hectic feel, and the first thing we got here is our drums. So, there's honestly a lot going on with the drums, as you can hear. It starts actually with this. So yeah, underneath all the breakbeats, we actually do have a kick and a snare and a hi-hat. I've noticed some of the Symphony tracks do this. A lot of Blacksmith stuff is doing this, like, especially Mark II, this is like how those drums are done. So, you're actually going to have like a breakbeat. Right, so you can see I have our amen here. It's really simple. It's just a break, and then I chopped it up a bit. But then you're blending it with these live samples. And you can even turn the samples up more, right? I kind of have them down here to blend. But that's essentially the sound. And then on this whole group here, it's not even being processed. So you can see it's really clean. The last thing, though, is this group. So what's happening in here is pretty hectic. You can see we got these two breakbeats, creating this kind of pattern, right? Just filling out the space. I've got a bit of saturation, which helps to glue them together. We have beat repeat. Super underrated for this type of stuff, because I've heard a lot of, like, especially the newer Blacksmith stuff, he has that where it's just the continuous glitch. And yeah, this is a really great way to do that. Plus, it's native to Ableton. You don't have to download any plugins. I got a high pass filter. And then there's the whole group. This low pass here just goes down in the middle. Right, and I wanted to show you guys this because it's a really good way to add some variation to your track. A lot of times these tracks can be really loopy and kind of like the same thing over and over. So if you just have this, you know, it's a really low-key, cool way to add some variation to your track. And I also heard that on a lot of Blacksmith tracks. So then we move down to our main pad. So what's going on here is you can hear this is just like this crazy washed out. It's almost like a chill wave pad or something. Kind of like meets jungle, right? Here's the first layer. What we're doing here as far as chords go is this one shape. Right, I'm doing this C sharp minor 9 here, where it's like just, so we got root 9, 3rd, 5th, there you go. That's a 9th chord. And then I'm just moving it across the keyboard essentially. Like, then we go down -5. And then we go up +3 from what the root was. So it's like, right, it's a pretty simple jungle kind of progression. I've noticed a lot of the SEWERSLVT tracks and a lot of the newer Blacksmith stuff kind of follows that. That's not as like emo based. But the sound on this one is with wavetable. We have a modern sweep wavetable, and we have this clip sweep. So I actually like playing around with these. These are kind of more made for like basses. Like if you play low. Right, it's like that, almost like a dubstep bass, but it sounds really nice to create pads with these too. And then the key is filtering. You can see I got both filters on, and we're kind of creating like our own bandpass with a bit of movement on it, right? You can see I put this LFO on, actually like a lot of little things, but you can see it's on that filter frequency. And then filter 2's got its own envelope on it, right? So we're just really kind of like moving this stuff slowly over time to create the sound. A bit of unison on noise, and then some reverb, and then this is the other layer. So I noticed that for a lot of these people, you know, there's certain sounds you can only get using audio. Like, I can show you how to synthesize cool pads all day, but you get a certain thing, especially for those old jungle sounds. Like a lot of the keyboards and those like M1, you know, chord kind of sounds are that. It's like a synthesized sound layered with a sample that's playing the chords that's in key. And there we go. So you can hear this adds a really cool texture. So I literally just tuned it. I ended up putting it in mono too because there was some weird phase stuff. And then we just put some reverb. And you get this crazy pad. Then we have this little atmosphere. So this is another one of those things that's about audio. Like, you know, with a lot of jungle and breakcore, a big part of that sound is sampling these effects and these atmospheres and kind of putting them against chords that you play. So we got that sample. There's literally not even any processing on it, none needed. I've just duplicated it and I reversed it for this. So you create this long 16 bar kind of atmosphere thing that just evolves in the background. Then we have our bass line, which is this 808 I made. Right, so this is just following the root notes of the chords, so you already saw that. But you can hear it's creating this pattern, which is honestly making a lot of groove against these drums. Right, so the way I would go about doing this is I honestly like to start with the drums. I think if you start with one of these 808s, it's a little weird. It has to be like you get this break going and you like it. And usually it's like you get these two down. Like some kind of cool synth and a break, and then you start to do the bass line. It makes a lot more sense that way because you can kind of tailor the groove of the bass line to the drums. And you can see there's a lot of space here. Like just letting notes ring out can do a lot for this style. It kind of makes it more ethereal and more ambient. For the sound on this one, it's operator. It's one sine wave with this envelope, but I'm using the low pass filter and I'm using the shaper on there to kind of give it some harmonics. See, it's literally just a sine wave and then it kind of becomes this more fat, like old 808 sounding thing. It kind of sounds like one of those vintage sampled 808s from the old jungle stuff. And then we got this pitch envelope too. Really subtle, but just gives it a little movement right at the start of the sound. And I have this redux, so without it, again, just kind of gives it more of that cool vintage analog kind of jungle sound. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys, even though I know this is not like that full kind of emo breakcore sound like BLKSMIITH is doing, if you guys want to see a video on that, definitely let me know. But I still wanted to put a little bit of that into here. So we have this little guitar loop. So this is actually a guitar loop I played. I made this a really long time ago. I'll play it like the original. So yeah, really different. So I sped it up and I pitched it in key, and it kind of gives you that like crazy warped guitar sound, like. And what's cool is I think the strumming, the dun 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 dun, dun gives us a lot of rhythm and a lot of motion. It certainly works without, but this is giving like a lot of motion to the track. You can hear that in the BLKSMIITH tracks like Mark II, where it's like just so much movement from that guitar and a lot of energy too. So even like in something more ethereal like this, just having the little dun 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 can really do a lot. The last thing I want to talk about with this is also the master processing. I think it's pretty important. If I turn this stuff off, this is what we're rocking with. So you can hear it is the sound, but there's a big part of like all this stuff kind of getting saturated and limited together like this. So you can see I got this medium curve saturator here. It's giving a bit of crunch to the sound, but I've got the dry wet at 35%. And then I got the limiter. Just really washing it out. Don't be afraid to do that, especially for that more like crunchy, SEWERSLVT, symphony kind of sound, where it's like a lot of what you're hearing there, the sound design is just this stuff getting pushed together and creating something new out of it. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. You can get this template at the top of the description on my website. So definitely make sure to go grab that while it's available. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.